and then we can do an atomic swap, getting MadBitcoins back on, Katia as well. Are you going to join?
Come on down.
Yes, okay. Because
right.
I'll have to go for my speech now. So Piers, we'll be back. Bye-bye.
All right, send us more people if you find them. Otherwise, we might close this out before too long. All right, just sit there. Uh-oh, Ruben, you're forgetting your $1 billion here. You're getting a lot poorer here, man. Yeah, we're buying companies today. So first we need to introduce you. We're joined by Katia, Katoshi from Trezor, Trezor Labs, and we'd like to present you with 1 billion marks. That's 1,000 million. This is a lot of money. This is 1 billion marks.
Cool. How many sets can I buy with it?
You can buy maybe a piece of bread or maybe an egg. I've heard they have single eggs now. A lot of nutrition, a lot of protein, single egg. So that's definitely happening. And yeah, it's all about the Deutschmarks. Like they're worth so much more than any modern money. So
I will definitely keep it. I mean, is it real?
It's very real. It's from the period. Each are uniquely, individually serialized. And you'll note this stamp is actually retro. That's circa 1920. They were very into Bitcoin in Weimar, Germany, or whatever it was.
I'm a billionaire now.
You're a billionaire now.
Special.
You are one. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So what do you do at Trezor?
I do communications.
Great.
So yeah, usually when I say that I do communications, people think that I tweet a lot. Well, actually, that's true, but that's not the only thing. So
Twitter and Facebook?
Yeah, like
all the social media networks.
I mean,
Does Trezor have an Instagram?
Well, actually, it
Close
has.
up pictures of Trezor After Dark.
Yeah, well, it has Instagram, but I think that it will be more suitable for like onboarding no coiners. So it's only in plans to actually wipe out the old account and to make it like really beautiful and Instagram style suitable for
Well, that sounds good. I know Instagram is a very focused community. One time I saw this lady at a concert and she was flipping through her Instagram and I kind of glanced over. It was nothing but nails. Pictures of nails, long nails, painted nails, swirly nails, little faces on nails. She was way into nails. I don't know if it was her profession or her hobby, but there's an Instagram for everybody. Bitcoiners, nail fanatics, hair people, whatever people are into.
Yeah, that's actually how you can recruit people, you know, just to inject into their like natural environments. I mean, that can be very tricky, and maybe you can feel that you do, you know, like some strange job, like injecting into nails people.
Well, there's actually an interesting Bitcoin tie-in. It's been a few years now, but at one point, Katy Perry, the famous singer, released a close-up of her nails, and she had like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum. She had a bunch of crypto nails, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Katy Perry's getting into Bitcoin. Everything's gonna be awesome from now on. She's gonna sing songs about it." Oh, that was it. She never mentioned it again. But one time, Katy Perry had cool nails.
Yeah, I actually remember that, but you know, actually, I had those crypto nails before.
Oh, well, you gotta start.
Sorry,
you gotta start tweeting them. You gotta start sharing on Instagram. I know that's what you want. Everyone looking at close-ups of your fingers. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have Instagram like my own profile, but I don't really use it.
It takes a lot to really use it. You have to do it every day. You have to promote it. You have to wear all the right clothes. I know I'm always wearing skimpy outfits on Instagram. I like to show it off. So.
Yeah, but also not my point of interest. So.
No.
So I'm just keeping it because like my previous handle was like Crypto Katia, and I wanted to, you know, just to register in all possible social networks. Like accounts with my name, so no one can actually take it.
You have
That's
to
why
do
I
it.
have it.
If you don't, someone will come along and they'll start asking for free Ethereum or whatever it is, and then it gets bad. Yeah. So what kind of products do you guys have at Trezor right now? Do you still have the Trezor with the buttons, and then you have the Trezor with the touchscreen?
Yeah, actually, right now we have two models, like Trezor Model 1, which is like the most popular and the first one ever. And the second is Trezor Model T, like you said, with the touchscreen.
So, like the Ford? I always think of that. I always think of the Model T Ford, and then I think, wow, I got a Model T Trezor now. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think that's, well, usually people ask what are the difference between like Model 1 and Model T, and maybe they don't like really understand like the difference. But actually, like Model T is considered like as more easy to operate just because it has a touch screen. You don't have to press anything on your computer. And like to my surprise, people usually don't like think about it. So I mean, both models are secure, but here you have like more advantage in like more secure usage of your
And there was
device.
something else, the way that the T works that's slightly better than the way the old one works. Something about it generates the keys, or you could see more of it, or pushing yes or no. There's some like interface reason why it was slightly better. I don't remember it offhand, but yeah, the T is supposed to be better. I got one of each. I'm trying them out.
Oh, cool.
So I like the little touchscreen one, but in my head, I worry that it'll break someday. I don't use it very often, but I just, worry about touchscreens. But if you have your seed written down, you always have the backup, so you could always bring it in that way. So.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And there is always a warranty. So, like, if it breaks, we can replace it. But yeah, I believe that it's like pretty durable, actually, more than warranty promises you. So
now, what if someone gets a hand on your Trezor and they take it physically? Is that going to make it secure or not?
Well, if anyone gets your Trezor, I mean, you're fucked.
It's a little less secure. It depends how high level they are and how good they are at hacking or whatever. But yeah, physical access to the device, if you can crack the cover off and if you can take it apart, it's obviously going to be less good than if you're holding on to it personally and you won't let anyone else touch it.
Yeah, it actually requires like a lot of like technical knowledge to do this, and probably like a big amount of funds like to actually create this attack.
Yeah, I used to go to meetups and they would hand around a Trezor with like $2 million on it or something. And you're always like, oh, I'll just swap this for mine, whoop to do, and then take it home and $2 million. But it's not that easy. It would be a lot of work to crack it, even if you had physical access to it. But it's better to hold on to your Trezor. Everyone's like, oh no, now I can't hand it around at meetups with $2 million on it. Darn. Like, that was a killer use case, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, better is to say that you're a no coiner.
Yeah.
And just like, you said Bitcoin, that sounds interesting. Like, tell me more about it.
I had a great quote recently where I said that not only did I lose all my keys in a boating accident, it was a yacht, but it was a yachting accident. And then I said, Trezors don't float. I'm probably going to put that on a t-shirt or something. Don't steal that, internet. Stop stealing my ideas. But yeah, I think it'd be a fun shirt. Because yeah.
Send me a picture.
Yeah. I'll get everyone on it. Everybody's all about the boating accident thing. A lot of people have lost their keys that way. They have little floaties that you keep on your normal keys. Maybe you should do one for Trezor, do a little floaty and like put it with it and be like, in case of boating accident, keep your Trezor afloat. That would be fun.
Actually, that's a good idea since boating accidents are so popular.
It is so popular. And remember, your keys are right there. You're like running the boat. You need the keys. And then you decide you don't want to run the boat anymore and you throw them over the side. Or maybe your angry girlfriend throws them over the side because you're paying more attention to the boat than her. Something like that could happen.
Yeah, but also, why do you need to keep your Trezor on the boat? Like, always boggles my mind. Like, why the heck you do that?
You just have to take it with you everywhere. You can't leave it at home. It's much safer that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, what can I say? Like, everyone decides its own like security measures. So if someone thinks that keeping his Trezor with 2 million is a good idea, well, I wouldn't recommend that.
But I have to keep it all on one, and I have to take it on every boat everywhere. It's a compulsion.
Well,
I can't stop.
Actually, yeah, it's better to have like different devices, like several Trezors, and to distribute your wealth on many of them.
I've said that to people where one of the things, and again, we're in a downtrend and everybody I know is broke. But if we ever get back in an uptrend and everybody I know makes money again, and you're saying, wow, I've got all my keys safe on a Trezor, but then your keys are worth way more than that Trezor, buying 2 or 3, hiding them in different places, getting different security boxes at a bank, getting a post office, whatever kind of box you want to put it in, digging it a hole under the house, covering it with cement. You can buy multiple Trezors, even if you want to, don't want to recommend, but you could get a Ledger or a Bitbox, try them all, put one in each thing. I mean, it's fine. Like, there's lots of hardware wallets. There's lots of space, lots of people that need them. So I think it'd be fine to do that.
Yeah, and even like except like having several devices you can use, just for example, like Shamir backup for like some special occasions, like inheritance or like whatever, how you want to secure this. I mean, it also works because you like give the shares to also different like people or store the shares in different places. I mean, it works in kind of like the same way.
So now at Trezor, are you guys Bitcoin only?
Well, at some point, yeah, we are. I mean, I would say that we were always like Bitcoin first company. And yeah, there was a market demand. That's why, like, I mean, we propose a tool to the markets, and according to demand, I mean, so we create our firmwares to what actually people want. And yeah, there was like a big number of people who actually demanded the Bitcoin only firmware. So yeah, we just created it.
Now that's probably because they're worried about the security of the altcoin wallets. And every time you add a new altcoin, it's not probable, but it's possible that something could get messed up. Allegedly, there's this big exchange back in the day called Crypto, and they had like 100 different altcoins. And allegedly, they added one called Lucky 7 coin, and that wallet code got in there and stole all the money, or they just stole it all themselves. No one knows what really happened. But is that the kind of thing that you're trying to avoid by having the Bitcoin only firmware?
Well, like from my personal perspective, I don't think that this is like a significant threat to Trezor, because like first of all, Trezor is open source. So everything that happens like in the firmware, like in any code, like everyone can review it. So maybe like when you say that exchange, it was probably not open source. So what the guys did inside, how they implemented this, and what happened after, it was like, like more in a centralized manner, so no one could influence this. So considering that Trezor is open source, like anyone can, detect the problem. But there is also a second point, that the less code you have, like the less like hypothetical threats can apply. Yeah, so from this point, of course, it's better that Bitcoin only firmware has just less code. Yeah, and also people asked about like different branches, that it's also, like can be maybe some potential threat or miscommunication or some mistakes when user wants to like make some updates. But yeah, we have to remember that it's not several like different branches. It's actually only one branch, because it has like the same source code.
Okay.
So.
And then what happens if I had altcoins on my Trezor and I upgrade to the Bitcoin only firmware, and then I'm saying, oh no, I lost my Litecoin. What do I do?
Well, actually, nothing happens.
Okay.
I mean, when you update, when you do a firmware update, really it updates to the regular firmware. And to update to Bitcoin only, you have to perform some actions manually.
Right.
So if you, the confusion may happen only if you wanted to update to Bitcoin only and you didn't perform like manual actions. But even if you did that and you wonder where are your like altcoins, they are still there.
Yeah.
And you can easily just switch to like regular firmware and you will see them again.
Okay.
Yeah, it was also like a big question when we launched Bitcoin only firmware, like where do my coins go? But people usually actually...
They don't go to you, do they? Straight to Katia.
Yeah, not to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not personally to me. They don't go anywhere, because people usually forget that actually device doesn't store any coins.
Yeah.
And this creates really a lot of confusion in people, because they are stick to this thought that coins are actually inside. But no, that's why like basically nothing happens if you mistakenly update it to Bitcoin only firmware. You're still like safe.
All right, cool. They're saying in the chat, let's see. Chuck says he upgraded the firmware on his Trezor to Bitcoin only, and it works good.
Oh, yeah. So Congrats. I mean,
There you
I'm
go.
happy about this.
That worked out. Jeremy says his Bitcoin only paper wallet works too.
Well, makes sense.
And other people like Cold Card. They think you should make a waterproof Trezor. Get ahead of the market here with this whole floating accident. Also, a floating one would be a good idea. Attach a little section to the back, make it float. Other people like Cold Card. Have you heard of Cold Card?
Yeah, I heard about Cold
Looks like
cards.
a little calculator kind of thing. I guess there's a great funny story about this, and like, you know, for us it's funny, for Cold Card it's sad. But when they first tested the first one, they were using like these, they weren't real push buttons. They were like some kind of static electricity push buttons or some kind of reactive push buttons, and they worked fine in the area that Cold Card was from, like Sweden or some kind of thing. And then when they exported it elsewhere in the world, things were different. Come on in. And the Cold Card buttons didn't work anymore. So the new version of Cold Card has the clicky buttons that work anywhere in the world. But it's a really funny thing, and it just shows again how difficult it is to design this hardware. And I remember talking to Pavel or Stick about Trezor, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd never, built hardware before. We always built software, and to actually make a physical thing, to get the case made, to get the case that fits the chip, and to get the right chip made, and the USB, and whatever else it is." Actually making hardware is really difficult, and we take it for granted.
I mean, I would say it's like not only about the hardware, but really a lot about like security, which are of course both connected. But yeah, I mean, I think that every wallet actually has its advantage and disadvantage, like at some point, and there is like nothing unhackable. So yeah, I mean, usually people like say about air gapping and stuff, and I just like did my own research like these days. I'm just also very curious about this, and yeah, I mean, I think that it's a lot about like informational security here and to attract in this community to Bitcoin, like to help us to build like as much as secure possible devices. Because even for air gapping, it's not about only not being connected to computer, but it's also about like being connected to the electricity network, for example. Because there are so many threats besides like computers or USB. You can do some even acoustic.
Yeah, we were talking today about someone could shine a laser at this window, and they could hear the keycaps, and they could hear the buttons, and they could get our password that way. Yeah.
It can be also like magnetic and electromagnetic, or just electric. So basically, when you put like your device into like electric network in this building, like someone could compromise like this before you. And how can you say that you are air gapped?
Oh yeah.
I mean, okay, you are air gapped, but like
well, a lot of people use like an old laptop for their wallet, and I'm always like, what about when that old laptop fails? Like, it just doesn't. It's a nice solution, and especially if you have an old laptop around, you want to save some money. That's cool, but make sure you print out your backup keys, like have it on paper, because if that fails, it goes.
Exactly. I mean, there are so many like sophisticated threats, and I mean, they become knowledgeable. Like today, you know one threat, and tomorrow something else appears, and someone sends like some super like electromagnetic rays, and you don't even see it, you don't even hear it, but it affects your air gapped device. Yeah, I mean, just stay aware, and yeah, that's the best.
Looks like we've got some more suggestions from the chat. They say the more that hardware wallets look like phones, the less I like them. That is a good point, that if it looked like something different, or maybe if it looked more like a toy or a Tamagotchi or something, it would blend in better. And Yuvas says he wants a hardware wallet that looks like an old rotary phone. So there's a lot of interesting form factor suggestions here from the audience. I definitely like the concept. I don't remember what it was. It might even come with a Trezor where you can like stick it under your desk or something. Comes a little backing. That's a good idea, like a hide a key type thing, or even like they're saying for border crossings and things, if it looked more like a generic USB stick, if it looked more like a little hard drive or a Wi-Fi modem or some kind of thing, it would just blend in a lot better.
Yeah, so I call this like security by oddity.
Yeah,
actually create some like specific looking stuff, and that's probably what we like did for just for fun with crypto clocks, guys. We created this like taco mount, which was like I don't know, just having the pure fun. But then we had people who actually gave some more ideas, like like create something that Trezor will look like keys for a car.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
good.
and that
Keys and
actually
things like
can
that.
work. That you like confuse people.
Well, then you
So
just
that's
throw it
good.
in a drawer somewhere, and people just think it's a bunch of keys or
Yeah,
something. That kind
yeah.
of thing would be a
I
good
mean
idea.
that's just cool. I mean that's something what I would do. It's basically the same like you say that you are a no coiner.
Yeah.
To
It's just a
everyone,
good
it's
OPSEC, right? Yeah.
yeah, just good obstacle.
So, are you working on anything new at Trezor? Anything you want to tell people about?
Yeah, we actually will have really good updates, and I think that the most important are that we will actually implement PSBT.
All right.
I think this was like long-awaited feature, and also we are working on Fido too, since Trezor is not only hardware wallet. I mean, it has some other features which people usually also underestimate. That's like for web authentication.
Yeah.
And Fido 2 is a new protocol, which we really like, and it's like more secure for passwordless login, which works just perfectly fine. So
All right, great, very cool. And where can people learn more about Trezor if they want to buy it and that kind of thing? Just tell
they
them.
can go just trezor.io. If they want to buy, they go just to shop trezor.io.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also have our own wiki. So wiki.trezor.io. It has like really a lot of cool information. And I think it's really good for every Trezor user to read it from time to time, because like even like long-term users forget about what is a passphrase. And yeah, so if you are if you think that you are experienced just from time to time, take a look at wiki, and I bet you will find some new information for you.
All right, cool. Thanks so much for the
Yeah,
interview,
thank you
Katia.
for inviting.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.